bum, cha cha cha. Bum bum, cha cha cha. Ah, ooh. Wow.
Ooh. Welcome everyone, and welcome to Monday Musing 25. Yes, it is 25. It's a milestone. That's pretty cool. I think it's a milestone anyway. Okay, we had a little bit of, I've had, for those of you that have been in the chat from minute one, you're aware that I've had some technical issues tonight. I didn't get back from, I had to get my son's doing a work placement at a hospital, and I had to get out to that hospital and collect him from there. And then when we got back, it was late, and I was halfway through reorganizing the studio at the weekend, which I didn't get done. So there was components and computers everywhere. But needless to say, I'm here. I think it's working. I've got no sound and then fixed, so that's good news. So here we are. Let's catch up on the chat. Let's see who's out there tonight, which is always good to do. It's a bit of a random show tonight. I'm not going to pretend. I didn't get a lot of prep time, so but here we are. We got 32 people watching, 34 people out there tonight. So welcome all of you. But let's go for Wolfgar was early in the chat today, followed shortly by Al Kirkham, which I think you guys pretty much hit the chat as soon as it was available online. We've got Derpamus Maximus in there, wishing he'd won the lottery so he could underlight his desk, or maybe just he could get a cost-effective LED solution strip and underlight his desk so he can pick up the bits when he drops them on the floor. By the way, that's a genius idea. Just a strip of LEDs like those £5 ones off Amazon or something. It just worked, wouldn't it? Save you shining a torch every time you go over. But anyway, Paul Collier is in there saying hello and complaining about the carpet monster stealing parts. Oh, what else has been going off? Well, there was a little bit of chat about, thank goodness, the PC issues were sorted. Yeah, I'd completely dismantled my machine, put it all together, and lo and behold, when you put it all together, it had stopped working. So it was just going to be a pain today, but things are working again. Right, okay, who else have we got in? Ralph is in there, Acharya is in there. Hey Acharya, and he's doing his WGO team stuff, congratulating us on hitting 9,000 subs. Yeah, that was pretty exciting. It came a little bit quicker than we expected, actually. So there's been a pickup on subscription, so that's pretty cool, and I was pretty excited about that. Plus, we said that once we hit that mark, then we'd have a good, long, hard think about an awesome giveaway building up to the 10,000 sub mark, and we are off. The preparation work is already taking place. What else we got? Ralph has been doing his work, putting link on Facebook, forum, everywhere he could put a link and be allowed to put a link. Paul Collier is chatting to Mark Potter about whether it should come down to the Leamington Gaming Club. Al Kirkham is in there congratulating us on the subs. Elster Nation's in. Hey Elster Nation, how you doing, mate? We need to have a chat. I think we were sort of yeah, we need to have a chat. Let's catch up. We'll do a Google Hangouts with you at some point in the week. Maybe actually, you know, if I'm doing a hobby hangout, Elster Nation, if you're around, maybe you want to join us. So give me a shout if that's cool, because there's nothing like a bit of Elster Nation for rapid model painting inspiration. Maybe you could talk me through some hints and tips on Wednesday when I'm trying to get this thing done. What else have we got? Furious George is in there. Alt Boys is in there. Hope I haven't missed anyone. Apologies if I have, but I think I'm keeping up so far. Matthew Judge is in there. Hey Matthew, how are you, mate? What else have we got? Oh, everybody's saying hello. Reaper 28 Grim is in there. Hi, I might not make this one. Oh, talk about Blood Ravens for me. There you go, I've done it. Blood Ravens are awesome. I hope that's good enough, Reaper. What have we got? Rowett is in there. Hey Rowett, how you doing? And Alt Boys Furious George. Fellhate's in. Hey Fellhate, how you doing? And what else have we got? Jet Set Jimbo. Hey Alt, how's Tricks? Tricks are good. Back problems have returned, so that's not much fun, but you know, what can you do? What can you do? Back in for an operation in hopefully, I'm hoping 2 weeks time, but I've not had the appointment yet, so that's pretty frustrating. Steve's trying to kill me with super glue fumes, but we'll push on. We'll talk about Steve in a minute. Steve came over because he was in the area and he was been helping me out, just getting the last of the studio moved around because my back had gone. So it seemed as though he was here. We said, well, you might as well sit there in the guest cam and say hello. Do you want to say hello now? I'll just bring you up. There we go. There's Steve.
Hey guys, how are we doing?
There you go. So Steve's with me. Why am I much bigger than Steve? How's that happened? I'm like twice the size of you, Steve.
It's called food.
Is it? I'm gonna zoom down, look, just so I'm not so big. Oh, I'm cutting my shoulder off now. No, look. I have to move over here. There you go. I'm not quite so big now. I don't feel too bad. Right. I love how we started messing around with the sets when we're live. But you know, there you go. Where were we up to? We were up to Jet Set Jimbo, and now then, Retep 1001 is in there. There was some complaints about sound being a bit low, so I've upped the volume, and I did a little sing-along for you all at the start while you were waiting, so I hope you appreciated that. Homish is in there saying hi. Paul, I think we've covered Paul Collier. Everyone saying hello to each other. What have we got? There's a few things. We can hear you. Acharya is saying support the WGO team by becoming a premium subscriber for access to exclusive content on the Wargamer Online website. Just $2.99 a month. go for it. Do subscribe if you've not subscribed already. Trust me, some kind of crazy big giveaways coming up as well, and it will be as ever at the YouTube subscribers, but also the lion's share will go to our premium subscribers because they're the ones that really make all of this possible. Sam's in there. 10 more Ungors to build, then the bases. That's not bad.
Go Sam.
Push on, Sam. I think that's 60 out of 70, isn't it, Sam? I think Sam was here on Sunday with Rachel. We had a channel catch up, and we planned a few things for the next few weeks, and a few changes, and a few extra bits, and some fun stuff. And part of this whole studio, look, I'm cutting my hands off. I've got no hands. Part of this whole studio dig around is so we can do some new funky stuff. More on that later, I think. Maybe I'll say a little bit. I don't want to say too much, but I think we can. We've had I did a test on Sunday. I did a quick change around of the studio, and then we did a quick test, and everything worked. So there's a bit more work to do now. Some cables to be redirected and everything, but some good stuff coming. Elstonation says, Phil, I have my Thousand Suns Codex now, so I will be ready to come up for a game if you're up for it in the near future. Yes, I am. Against Thousand Suns, though, I have to say, that doesn't scream as tempting. Their new Codex just looks insane. Absolutely insane. I don't know much about it. I've not read it. I was listening to... I think it might have been the guys over at Forge the Narrative on their podcast, and they were doing a review of the Codex, and yeah, it just sounds crazy. Retep's apologising for liking Xenos. Don't you apologise for that. There's nothing to apologise for. Furious Judge says, I hope Amit is wearing a fur coat and carrying a cane while he pimps the WGO website. Amit is the pimp of WGO. That's cool. Right, a load of people saying hello to each other. Hey, up me ducks. That's got to be from someone up north, hasn't it? If we're putting me ducks at the end of it. What else have we got going on? Evening all. Who's hobbying? I'm working on some drones, says Big Mac Danskull. So, yeah. Well, I'm working on... Well, you'd never guess, would you? I'm working on those little guys, and they're amazing. And I've been doing some custom-y, conversion-y type things, so I've just broke one. Marvellous. Let's see if I can... Why can't I find one now? I want to... There we go. So one of the things I've been doing, this is not the best camera to show it on, but they also have throwing axes, so I wanted them to be actually throwing the axes. So check that out. I'll put the little throwing axe, and I've just shoulder mounted the shield. How cool does he look? He's like, ah. So anyway, that's okay. Hopefully cool. Hello Phil and the gaming family, says Scott Bile. Hey Scott, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm not really doing too well on the rapid run through the chat, but I think everybody deserves a shout out. By the way, if you think somebody deserves a shout out and they're not here, let's give them a shout out anyway. What else have we got? Neil's in. Hey Neil, how are you doing? Daryl's joining us, saying hello to Big Mac Danskull and finishing on the banner for his Grave Guard. And then it's his third Def unit polished off. Nice. Def, I don't know whether there's any future in Def. They've got the old codex with old rules. I don't think they'll, I don't think they'll be competitive.
There's one thing you need to know.
What?
Def is inevitable.
Def is inevitable. It is indeed. Well, unless of course you're Eldar. DJ the Lucky One saying hi all. Underdog Painting saying hey peeps. I've mixed game systems there. Do you see what I did there?
Yeah, well done.
Oh, Underdog Paintings is just about to finish off 20 grots. Coleman is in as well. I think I've mentioned Coleman and Hobbyman UK. Sorry I'm late. I've been uploading to my channel. I did what I want to ask what currently your favourite miniature is and by what manufacturer. What is my favourite miniature and by what manufacturer? This is really easy. Why is my focus going crazy? But it's this at the moment. The Battlesmith. It's an amazing model. So much so, I liked it so much, I bought it twice. Oh, he's got no head there because I will be painting his head separately because his head is just incredible. Can't really see it on the camera, but it's an amazing head. And I do have plans. The second Battlesmith, I have plans for that head. And if Luke Morton, if you're out there watching this, you know exactly what those plans are, mate. So when can you get those parts to me? Okay then. John J says, John J said something and then I scrolled down. So, what have I done with that? That's embarrassing if I can't find John J. There we go. John J, there you go. Hey, all, looking for recommendations on what theme to base my Khorne Bloodbound army with. The deep red, they're kind of deep red, aren't they? Deep red.
Like corn red.
Yeah, it's quite a deep red. I mean, lava or the kind of desert looks quite well because you get that contrast. But I think, you know, the black base and lava always gives the opportunity, and it depends whether you don't mind doing a bit of object source lighting as well, a bit of glow glinting off their armor or something like that. I have to say, lava bases always look cool, and if you want a deep red to stand out, other than that, you could go crazy and you could go blood in the snow. And I love blood in the snow. So obviously, as a theme, it's about snow, and then it's about blood splattered across the snow, and that lovely contrast of the blood red and the white snow, always good to do. So you have the weapons dripping with blood, and you know, big blood splatters across the larger bases as well. Anyway, that's always mine.
Don't eat red snow.
Don't eat red snow. No, because you'll get tainted by corn, of course. Lots of people giving him wonderful advice. So some Akishi, that place, some of that place. There you go, lava. You could always go lava. That's what I've been working on as well this week. So yeah, lava works, and it would look nice when you take on my fire slayers as well. We'd have matching bases. Oh, right, where are we now? A lot of people recommending lava. Slate and skulls, there you go, slate. Ah, skulls, we forgot skulls, you see. So yeah, why not? Get some skulls on there. Just loads of skulls. With that new skull pack that GW released as well, you can have a lot of fun with skulls. Furious George says, I'm hoping I've not missed anyone. Liam's in the chat, and I think that's it. John J is saying hello. Furious George, Wargamer Online, you should put Fire Slayers in your beard to strike fear into the enemies at tournaments. Well, that's not a bad idea, and I think I could probably get one to hold, couldn't I? Look, there you go, little fire. Actually, he looks kind of cool, like just like a beard-mounted fire slayer. That works. That genuinely works. Yeah, I might have to wear a hat. I'm far more excited about making a hat than I am about playing games. I mean, I think it's a given that I'm probably going to win the tournament. So
yeah, whatever.
So I don't need to worry too much about that. So it's all about what I'm going to dress, what I'm going to wear on the day. That's what I need to worry about.
Skirt.
Right, John J. How does one do blood splatter onto mini bases? The good old stipple brush or a thick bristled brush, stiff bristled brush, a bit of blood for the blood god, and flick the brush. You know, like the old toothbrush is probably a bit much.
I use the toothbrush.
But you know, you can get just a nice stiff little brush and cut the bristles square, so you've just got a little tiny one, but the toothbrush should do it. But you know, I'm thinking if you can get a stiff, smaller brush, you can have a little bit more control over it. Oh, right. What else have we got? James and his stuff says hello. Hey, James and his stuff. Thanks for joining us. John J is asking for a shout out to Kevin D. Roundtree, CEO of Games Workshop. He's really turned them around. You know what? How often does Kevin D. Roundtree get a shout out? Shout out to Kevin D. Roundtree. I wonder if he's watching. I think he does. He's a regular viewer of the Monday Musing, but he doesn't like to comment because he knows he gets lots of questions. There's along with the Queen, of course. I do get the Queen tuning in from week to week. Wow. Al Kirkham, I like the idea about shoulder mounting the shield. I have to try it. Thanks. I've done about 6 of them. Anything that kind of had the double-handed thing. So, for instance, the little horn blowers are kind of, again, shoulder mounted the shield. I am going to put like a diagonal strap just across their shield, so they've kind of got, you know, it's not just glued on, if you know what I mean. I'll green stuff a little diagonal strap. I've only done about 6. So it's not going to be too big a deal. Can't be headshotted if you don't have a head. I'm completely confused by that, but that looks like a bunch of chat between everyone. I'm just checking I've not missed everyone. Daryl is in there at John. I did mine on melted snow with blood splatters. There you go, blood on the snow. You cannot beat that for the contrast. Scott says, that terrain looks amazing. Well, thank you very much. I'm pretty pleased with it. It has been a relative, I have to say. You know what? That's not really working. I don't know whether this is going to work. Well, there's kind of stuff all over the desk, so let's see. There you go. There's a close-up of it at least, and I'll just try and... I'm still in the middle of setting some bits up, so apologies that the camera angle is not amazing. So there you go. That's what that's looking like. I'm pretty pleased with it. I have to say, it's not... You've got to be careful handling it. Although with a couple of coats of lacquer on top, it's really starting to stiffen up and toughen up. But if there are any spiky bits, lesson learned there, flick them off before you paint them. I will be putting up a step-by-step page on... Oh, crikey. Step-by-step page on the website, on the forum, but there is also a video to follow as well. But I kind of figured it's a fairly straightforward process. I've done a video just so people can see the techniques on airbrushing and those kind of things and how I did it. But the reality is I thought a step-by-step is just as useful, and it gives us some extra blog content, so that's pretty cool. Right, Beard Slayer says Acharia. Liam Badley is laughing. Mark Burgess says certainly is. Orc Boy is expensive though. I'm not quite sure. Internal communication. Well, there we are. I think we've made it to the bottom of the chat. That's not bad, is it, Steve? That's not bad at all. Let's have a look at. Well, Steve, I tell you what. I'll bring you on camera. Do you want to have a before we move on to what's going off? I've talked a little bit about what I'm working on. Have we got the cameras right? Do we look at each other?
Yes,
that way? I can't see because I turned my back to the screen. There you go. That's cool. Right, so Steve, that camera's pretty good, so I think you can get away with showing something on it. What are you working on?
Yeah, so well, at the moment, getting my Blood Knights ready for the tournament, as I do believe I'll be taking them in. just trying to get it in the right place. There we go.
That's good. If you put your hand behind it as well, it helps it focus. There you go. There you go. Look, there you go. I actually think for Finecast models, they're looking pretty fine. All pun intended there. I think they're looking pretty good. You were kind of like, oh, got Finecast models to do, but you know what? I think they look great.
Yeah, there's been a few bits which have been a bit of a concern, but I think I've managed to.
Yeah, but I'm looking at one now. There's a little bit there, isn't there? But the big green stuff, that's not a major issue. A couple of creases in the fold and those kind of things.
Yeah,
but
there is some. I mean, I want a green stuff, a cloak on the Castellan.
Little banner dude, look there. I'll tell you what, I'll bring up the face cam so you can see that. Look, I like this banner dude. It's really nice. Whoa, I can't remember. There we go. Looking great. That's well cool. But very, very thin, that banner. But it's okay, because once you get some paint on it, you won't really see that. Yeah, just get a decent coat on that one. So yeah, Steve came over to help move some furniture around and stuff like that, because unfortunately my back is kind of folded on me. He's getting on with some hobby while he's here. And we've been chatting all things hobby, a little bit of tournament stuff, excited about death. Yeah. What else? That's about it, really, isn't it? Yeah, that's about it. So Steve's going to hang around in the background there. We'll bring him up if we get into chats. If you got any questions for Steve and his Death Army and what he's looking forward to, he was on the Wednesday chat as well, so why not shout out? But in the meantime, let's have a look at what's going off out there in the name of the show, which is what's going off out there in the hobby. So, right, this is the next bit. We've got a few people out there. If you want to give me a shout out on anything that you've seen out there that's looking pretty exciting, you let me know. But for the meantime, I've been browsing through the Warhammer community website. Couple of exciting things. I have to say, I'm going to fast forward a little bit because this is what I'm excited about in terms of the models that are coming out. We're seeing these fellows here. And again, it's not. I'm a bit short on Fire Slayers for the tournament, so this has come out just at the right time. I'm not really short of them actually.
I melted them.
Absolutely love this guy. I love it. And
nice
I'm half tempted to build my Magmadroth with the platform and just have him stood on the platform. You know, because there's a Rune Smiter's mount, and he stands on the little platform rather than seated. And to be honest, you could even seat that model, couldn't you? You could kind of just get something, get that away, put his loincloth to one side and have him seated. I just like the axe across the shoulder. It looks absolutely fantastic, which is a latchkey axe, of course. The rule for that is if I manage to score a 6 on the hit, I think it's the hit. It could be the wound, but I think it's the hit. I then roll another dice, and if I roll a 4 up, your weapon gets broken, caught in the latchkey, and you have to re-roll all successful hits for the rest of the game. Ooh. So that's pretty nice. It's a nice little rule. It's nice that you're having an impact on your opponent. It's not just all about buffing your own army, if you know what I mean. I kind of like some of those rules that are a little bit more aggressive. They're kind of attack rules rather than just boosting the defense.
But we had that chat about because obviously there's that artifact that Death now have where I can steal your weapon.
Yeah.
So
we were trying to work out.
Take the weapon off you, snap it in half, and then hand it back.
Yeah. And that's the weird thing, because you would be attacking me, and that is my weapon. So yeah, we're kind of saying how you do it, but yeah, I just from a rule perspective, you just assume you just break it and hand it back. Go, yeah, that's rubbish.
Yeah, don't like this.
Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Nice little Skaven set out as well.
Yeah,
and then,
Shakespeare.
you know, I actually that's not fair to skip over Skaven because they're cool looking models. I think
do
they're
like
great.
the leader there. He does look the way he's
Yeah.
literally flying over that.
You know what though?
Archway.
I really like this dagger gripped in the tail. That's kind of cool because you've got the double dagger of the assassin sort of
It's
thing.
very Deathmaster Snitch. That is.
Yeah, it's cool. I like that. And then, of course, we have, I think it's Delark, isn't it? Or is it Orlok? It's Orlok. So here we have the Orlok gang. And again, another great set of cool looking models. I'm definitely tempted to get a set of those for Genestealer cults, I have to say. They'd make a really cool little GSC unit. But no, I'm going to hold off though because I've got plenty to be working on, and there is rumours within the White Dwarf, isn't there, that we are going to start to see some of that free content, which is pretty cool. So what else have we got going off? We've got pre-orders on chart. Oh, I think we've covered that one. That's the main article that we've covered, isn't it? So what else have we got? Yeah, Necromunda. Focus on the Chosen Axes. It's all about these guys at the moment, isn't it? And there's some interesting stuff. I don't understand this game though, but I have to say, I just keep looking at the models and going, yeah, they're really cool. I think Sam's going to have to teach me how to play this game. Plus,
Very
I think
quick game.
the local gaming club are going to be picking it up as well, aren't they? But I mean, to be honest, I'm pretty keen on Skirmish, so I kind of get it's kind of, yeah, learning cards as well.
The campaign at the club, it starts at Shadespar, then goes into Skirmish, then goes into full-blown AOS.
Yep, that's true.
So.
Okay, well, we've been looking at a little bit of that. That's pretty good stuff. I mean, we've also seen over the last few days, we've seen new Primarch.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Was he Iron Hands, isn't he?
Oh, you cheeky fucker.
Whoop, swearing. Nice one, Steve. Gonna have to put a warning up on the show now. Right, okay then. You better apologise to everyone. I'm going to put you on camera. There you go.
Hopefully they didn't catch it.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, no, they got that. Right, okay. What have we got? Retip saying, "Have you tried chameleon paints yet?" Yes, I started them at the weekend. I filmed the footage. They're pretty interesting. They're not too difficult to work with, which was good news. I've got to work out how to photograph the effect. I think it's going to have to be like little rotating videos because what I've seen so far, it's pretty hard to capture it, even if you kind of move it around in your hand. So I'm going to do some little rotation shots of it and stuff like that so you can really capture it. And I've done both models, marines, and I did a couple of spoons as well, just so you see it on a flat surface. But they're interesting stuff. So look for that content coming soon. I mean, I'd hope to get that up certainly by the weekend, I think. Shouldn't be a problem. It just depends on how much I need to finish off on this studio work. And I think we're going to be looking at Sam's studio as well and making a few changes. So depends. But hopefully by the weekend, you'll be seeing that content. Right, what else have we got off? Daryl says, "Is Steve as excited as I am for the Battle Tome? There's not a single part of the teasers so far that hasn't made me giddy." So I think, Steve, it's fair to say you're excited, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I just don't know what Legion I'm going to take for the tournament. There's loads of good new rules. Can't wait to test them, get them in play. And then try and work out what I'm going to build from that for the tournament.
So how many legions have you got to pick from? We're looking at some rules now for the Legion of the Night.
There's 4. There's the Legion of Night, which is led by Manfred.
Yeah.
Legion of Blood, which is led by Neferata.
Isn't that Manfred over there? No, that's not.
That's
Who's
Archon.
that over there? Archon, right.
And then Legion of Sacrament, which is led by Archon the Black. And then the Grand Host, which is led by Nagash himself.
Right, okay. So 1,000 points. You're going to, although it's possible, you're not going to get Nagash in 1,000 points, are you? You can do it, can't you? Can't you just
I think,
spam a bunch of zombies around it?
Yeah, 2 units of 10 zombies and Nagash. I think we're just about under 1,000.
I'm not sure you'd win the friendly gamer.
Not only that, but he will just get so much hate. And once he's gone, and
yeah, you've got nothing left.
20 zombies. so
and he can die. He can die. It's hard work, but he can die.
I think my plan is I'm going to pick one of the sub-factions, either Soul Blight or Death Rattle, and then pick one of the legions so I can get the effects of the legion and the effects of the faction at the same time. I think
Right.
that's my plan.
So which faction were you thinking of? Is it Sacrament, did you say?
I'm not sure
Not
yet.
decided.
I might do Knight,
Right.
Knight or Blood, because I'm going to be using Soul Blight, I think.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, what is it that? So it's Soul Blight. That's a particular spell, isn't it? Is
No,
that right?
Soul Blight is the faction of vampires. So it's an
Okay.
army of vampires.
All right. Okay. Sounds wonderfully complex. How big is this battle tome going to be?
Yeah, it's got. I think it's 6 different battalions. Sorry. Then you've got the 4 different legions, and then you've got all the sub factions like Nighthaunt, Death Rattle, Deadwalkers, all that in there. Plus the updated War Scrolls. The only thing that's not in there is the Flesh Eater Courts.
Yeah. That's so cool, by the way. That's
a cool piece of
they've
scenery.
re-released. I actually had one of those for about 6 months. It stayed in the box and then I just got rid of it. And it was one of the things I most deeply regret. It was just a cool piece of terrain. But it's a huge, huge piece. But it's still cool. Yes, I have to say I'm a little bit on the outside of this stuff release. I've seen lots of people getting excited about rules. I do think the thing when you you haven't got the book in your hand, you haven't played any games, it's a bit crazy to get excited about individual rules because you tend to find that a lot of them end up being quite prone to great on paper but hardly ever show up in the game type stuff, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's a lot of situations where they don't apply, they don't quite work. But so on paper you can read all of the rules and go, this army is crazy, and then as you start to play them you realise, well, actually, 2/3 of this, it's difficult to get 2/3 of this into effect within the space of the game anyway.
Yeah, I think the main issue is, a lot of them rely on a good number of heroes, especially the Deathly Invocation. That relies on a good number of heroes in range, and the problem with the tournament is, what can we fit in 1,000 points?
Yeah.
If you take 3 heroes, that doesn't leave you a lot of points left over for troops. So.
Well, to a degree, this is the issue I'm having with the Fire Slayers. Is I want to take a Magma Drop. We've had this. Sam mentioned it on his chat on Saturday. It was part of a conversation we were having. I want to take a Magma Drop because the Magma Drop is a cool model. I'm more about the hobby and the painting anyway. I've been working on a conversion of the Magma Drop to make him look about twice the size he actually is. So I'm pretty pleased with it, and it's all about clever basing and repositioning the legs and those kind of things. So there'll be some more of that coming up on the chat at some point. And I think it's really, really unfortunate if I don't take that model because it's going to be such a centerpiece of the army. And then in my mind, I'm seeing symmetry. You've got the Magma Drop, a unit of 5 half guard, which their job is to protect heroes. And then 2 units of 20 berserkers, we each with a rune smiter each, which gives them the teleport roll. So that's all of my troops. The big 220 units, they can teleport. I can drop them over the table and choose where I want to be. They're not optimal at 20 by any means, because they've got a 4-up ignore wound essentially, a bit like the Nurgle mechanic. But it's only 4 up until they take a single wound, and then it drops to a 5 up. That's still good. It's still as good as Nurgle sort of thing. But you can imagine if you've got 30 unit, not only are they pumping out a lot more attacks, it was certainly the throwing axes and the shields that they throw when they go into combat. You get all 30 of those each time, and you can take 10 wounds before they kind of drop to that 4 up, drop to the 5 up. Feel no pain if you like. And I could take the half guard out and just go with a 30-man and a 20-man unit, so I know I've got a hard-hitting unit. But this is the crazy thing. I've got an idea of what the arm is going to look like when I put it down on the tray or on the table, and I want it to look symmetrical.
Well, I
don't like the idea of this.
I see it, but I like an army that looks good on the table.
Yeah.
And one of the things I like about your list there is I think your Magma Drop is actually going to be quite a good distraction and will soak up a lot of hate when it's not actually your hardest hitting unit.
No, I think the interesting thing is I think it depends how experienced you are at playing against Fire Slayers. Because I think if you've had a few games against Fire Slayers, you've probably learnt to ignore the Magma Drop other than shoot it, because it's got 12 wounds. You could just shoot it down in one turn.
Yeah.
There's no kind of decent save. It's got a 4-up armor save, so 12 wounds on the 4-up armor save with no real way of stopping that stuff coming through. You wouldn't actually be that worried about it if you played against it a couple of times, because you'd be like, I killed that with Zangors, or you just there's so many heavy shooting armies out there that you can definitely remove a 12-up 12 wound 4-up creature is just going to go, isn't it? So you probably shouldn't worry about it too much at all. But you're right, the model itself, they're going to go, oh no, that's that horrible magma drop that dishes out loads of mortal wounds.
Yeah, it's big, it's got a board presence, people will not ignore it, and you kind of hope that they will be more distracted by what that's doing, and if you play it well as well, and make it head off towards objectives, and make them think that you're heading towards an objective, it could distract them from what your actual game is.
I think what I'm really hoping is people will just get terrified of Rachel's Dread Sword and ignore the little dinosaur over there.
I didn't even calculate or completely forgot about the fact that Rachel is teamed up with you. And with a teleporting Dreadsaurian. Yeah, the Dreadsaurian is going to be the problem. Is going to be the distraction.
And that's the thing is, I'm kind of hoping that becomes a distraction, because they see that great big beast and they're like, forget the little dinosaur. That's my problem, But we'll see. I suppose it depends on the experience of the players. It depends how much they've done. Right, what else have we got going off in the chat? Let's catch up and see what people are saying. So have you tried the chameleon paste? We've got 12 Neef says, hey, can't stay long, still at work, but saying howdy. Hey, 12 Neef. When are you next over in the UK? You need to let me know. It would be good to meet up again. It was great to see you. I don't think you come over very often, but it would be cool if you do it again sometime. Oh, right. 12 Knee says, I'll teach you, Phil, next time I go to the UK. I'll teach you a new game per UK trip. Well, there you go. He's talking about Shadespire there. I think he likes the short, fast turnaround games. That's his thing. He was sort of saying, likes a game you can get 4, 5, 6 games in a day, and it's not taking the whole day up. And, I have to say, half convinced me, certainly. Ralph Hummel says, lovely silver paint for the new Primarch already bought. There you go. Awesome. Any rumours for the next 40k Primarch, says Acharia. White Scars. Well, that's certainly what I think Sam will be hoping for, but, GW are hinting at the Lion or Russ.
I think it'll be the Lion.
It's going to be the Lion, I think. I think iconic ones like the Russ, they'll get either much later in the release cycle. It's kind of what,
If you think about it fluff-wise, the Lion is the only one that's currently in the universe. I mean,
yeah, but that's
Russ has disappeared off in the warp.
Yeah, but Russ could just pop out of a warp hole, couldn't he? Is what are they called? The big worm, the big werewolf dudes. They just came back, didn't they? They just appeared. Okay. Anyway, Retep says, how come there are no Xenos Codices content yet? Yeah, they've not mentioned them, have they? I mean, I think that was a relatively early sneak peek, that they just wanted to talk about something coming soon at LVO, and that's what it's about. So they've got to take something with an impact at LVO. They've got to really show something. It was a big event. There was over, I think, 1,000 attendees, and I think, in terms of people playing, I think there was 479, something like that, people playing at the tournament. So it's a huge event, probably one of the biggest. And they just wanted to show something, and maybe they had to show something quite early. I would guess we'll start to see Necrons towards the end of this month, maybe. And I'm guessing Necrons because we saw the model, and I can't imagine it was the only one of the codexes they had a model release. And I don't know whether anybody, we were talking about this. We were going through that stuff that hidden in plain sight. And I'll have to have a look on the forum and see if anybody's mentioned it. But the artwork in the back of that, the flying tanks, what are they called? It's not prisms, doom monoliths. The monoliths look different in the artwork.
Oh, do they?
So. But who knows? Who knows? That would be pretty exciting, wouldn't it?
I do wonder if any of the Dark Elder players are hoping for the return of Vect.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Because he was rumoured that he may return.
Yeah, Yeah, I wonder where the... Oh, of course, that is going to be one of the releases, isn't it? Yeah, we might see some more models. I'm guessing it's going to be Necrons first just because we saw the model, but that could be completely off. They've got plenty of time to do some other stuff. Okay, Ralph on well, 2017 was all about 40k, so now it's Age of Sigmar time, so just sit and wait. Well, yeah, Thousand Suns was out last week. I think they're getting fair share, but again, it's about models, I suppose, isn't it? I mean, we're seeing Blood Brawl. Oh, excuse me. Coming out in White Dwarf. Apologies for the yawn. It's been a long night. I know. I'm sorry about that. We're obviously seeing things coming out for Shadespire as well. So there seems to be a good mix at the moment. But you're right. I suppose the focus is on Malign Portents right now. That's the big, campaign that's going off, isn't it? Right. Okay, what else have we got going off? Scott says, your Slayer army, you need to give your Warlord glasses and back scars. I'm back scars. I've just realised he's saying I need to make him out to look like me.
Yeah.
I'm thinking back scars.
Flash to bang.
Right, yeah, well I could do. I don't know whether glasses look that threatening in combat. I could put like a little drop down visor, like on a ski helmet. Yeah, on the little chain.
Yeah, on the little chain.
Or just a monocle. Just put one monocle in. Okay.
Monopoly dwarf.
What else have we got going off here? Paul Collier is saying, yay, the wolf, where are these rumours? So there you go, who knows? You never know, there might be rumours out there. Depimus Maximus, not that way, more the way of buffs. Confused now. Maybe that was... I think that's actually an internal conversation again within the chat. Oh, right. I think that's everybody up on the chat. We've caught up again. So that's pretty cool. How we're doing for time as well. We've got about 20 minutes. Let's talk through some of the stuff on the desk a little bit. Maybe, I think we probably can do. So what camera have we got? Let me see. There we go. So yeah, let's have a quick look at what I've been working on. You can tell I've only just tweaked all this around, so apologies for the bad camera work. So as you can see, there's a great big pile of 20 Slayers here. This is to be added to the 20 Slayers that Sam gave me. So there are 10 of the let me just see if I'm getting that in. There are 10 of the picks, the war picks, and again with the shield, the slinging shield, and then we've got 10 of the axes, and as you can see, that's another one of those. I've done a little conversion, so he's got the shield mounted on the back, and he's actually throwing the throwing axe. I do want to get the throwing axes mounted on the models. I don't think it would have been something I'd have completely concerned myself with in the past, but seeing as though we're going for tournament, I want it to be obvious what my models have got. So I'm hoping that's in. It wasn't in. So, getting a little axe in there. I think the only thing is, what I'm a little bit worried about is there's not going to be a lot of flesh visible once I've done all of this. Maybe that's not a bad thing, but I think the army has got that whole fleshy look. But I have to say, not super keen on some of these little chunky thighs. So if I can disguise them a little bit with a throwing axe and thing, I actually prefer that than it is. So that's where I'm at. There's a whole bunch of plastic going off. There's the Battlesmith. Like I said, it's an absolutely fantastic model. He is missing his head. We can just put his head on for a second. Oh, there you go. How huge is that head? It's amazing. Am I in the video there? I'm in the video. There you go. It's absolutely fantastic. I love that model. So far, of the entire range, my favourite model, the Battlesmith. I really like the level of detail on him. And some great little sort of, the runes hammered into his flesh on the back as well. So, yeah, so that's what's going off on there. The scenery is all finished. I showed the overlapping... Oh, no, I showed that one. So why don't we... There you go. That's what I was talking about, Steve. You've got to knock those little flicky bits off. That's the problem. Wide. There you go. So this is where I got to with this. And I think there could be more work done to these, without a doubt. But I've decided to stop there. They are for battle reports, so they've just got to look good on camera. They're a little bit more contrasty maybe than I probably would have aimed for, but, so I brought a lot more darker areas in and those kind of things. But again, it's intentional so the contrast looks good on camera, because they've got to look good at a distance as well, that's the thing. And again, we did a little test footage over the weekend to see how this stuff looks. It looks great, so I'm pretty pleased with it. And I have to say, probably the cheapest terrain I've ever made. I think total cost for the terrain. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do the total cost. So I'm going to include the paints as well. We had £10 worth of expanding foam. There was £5 worth of glue sticks. Now I bought these super long ones, but they were really cheap online, so I got about a pack of 20, and I've still got stuff left over from that. I mean, literally, you can kind of look at that, and probably I was using something like the big archway. That, I think, when you look at that, that was probably 2 glue sticks in total. So that's it, because they were super long ones. So we're up to £25. The paint, I got 2 cans of black matte spray from a local hobby shop. It's one of those kind of, what is it called? They're kind of just like a home hobby kind of craft place, a craft shop. The paints are absolutely awful, terrible, and they stink. They're really bad, really sticky and quite horrible, but perfect for scenery. So I was fine with it. That's £4 a can, and I used 2 cans.
Not bad.
So what are we up to? I think we're up to £33 so far. And then, I mean, I had the airbrush paints, but I could count it. I mean, we were probably a tenner's worth of airbrush paints. And that's basically it. I did throw a can of lacquer over the top. But I'm not going to count that because it was horrible. It was some cheap stuff I bought for some scenery. I didn't like it because it was quite shiny. I decided I didn't mind a shiny look on these because it's kind of this molten volcanic rocky kind of glossy look to it. So I didn't mind it. So I hit them with that can. And I think I probably only paid about a tenner for that, if that. I think it was about £8 for the can. So let's say 50 quid, and I've done enough terrain pieces for a 6x4 table. I've actually got too much. Even for a 6x4 table, we laid it out on a 4x4, and we kind of walked through with armfuls of the terrain and put it down, and it was like we took armfuls back, and it was like, damn, I've overmade this terrain because I just used the cans up until their end, so I might as well. But you could easily do a 6x4 table, and there's loads of line of sight blocking. The only thing it lacks is area terrain. So this is my plan. My plan is to do like a little lava lake that is set but cracked. So I'm going to use the cork tiles, and then I'm going to have a little raised bit, like a little exhaust, and then there are going to be clouds of smoke coming out of those, and that's what gives you the area cover. So it's essentially like the forest. You'd use the forest rule. It's just a one-up save. It's like entering the wooded area, if you know what I mean. So I'll do 3 little cloud smoke plumes, and you just move your miniatures around it. And I was going to, I've got a whole bunch of those little flickering tea lights. So I was just going to drop 3 of those on a base, hollow it out so you can get to the switch below and the batteries below. So just put a little circle, drop them in. You can flick the lights on, and just because this doesn't light up and everything. And I can't remember who it was. It may have been Elston Nation. It might not. I think it might have been. No, I can't remember. Somebody said, why don't you put lighting effects into that? Which actually, with the hot glue, you actually could have done. You could have ran the hot glue over string of LED lights, so you could have lit them and it would have been pretty effective. But needless to say, I didn't do it. I didn't I was going to sort of make it glow with the paints, which is the effect I went with, but I kind of figured like smoky glowy plumes, a bit like the battle damage you see on 40Ks. I did a bunch of those ages ago. You get the little tea lights, you put some if you use the stuff that you use for stuffing teddy bears, it's different to cotton wool. It's kind of coarser and it makes a better smoke effect. So that's what I'm going to do, I think. What are we at now?
That or dry ice.
Don't get me started on dry ice. You've got to be careful. We had at the office, we had a pumpkin carving competition, and one of the guys used one of those little mist machines, and it atomizes water, doesn't it? It's not dry ice, it's atomized water. And it was like running off the table. It was wetting the extension cable. It's like there's a lot of water gets released from those things. So I've always thought, if you use those for terrain, you're gonna drench your terrain, overall. But anyway, right, okay, what have we got? Just looking at the chat now. I think everybody's saying hello to each other. Kablams has just joined us. Hey Kablams, how are you? Just got back from the hospital. Well, that's great news. Wiped out, understandably so. but I'm glad you're back from the hospital, and I hope everything is okay. Big Mac Danskill says, "Hey Kablams, I like your little chunky thighs." Oh wait, no, he's not.
Say that.
He's not saying to Kablams. He's talking about my dwarves. So sorry about that. I'm reading one comment and going straight into the other. Ralph Hummel says, "Molten Rock is quite flat looking." Actually, Molten Rock is quite flat looking. Yeah, it kind of is, and you know, this is fantasy, strange world, Molten Rock. I did actually find, weirdly enough, I actually found some natural formations of lava rock that looks not dissimilar to what you're seeing. So it's where it's kind of spewing out and stuff, and those formations are generally seen underwater more.
Yeah, in the sea.
So I'm going to say that there was just lots of atmospheric pressure. There you go. That's what causes it. But I did actually found a picture of a lava field that looks incredibly like that. It's got that kind of, it's been oozing out, it's been breaking and then sort of snaking down the mountainside. It was really strange looking. So something like that does tend to happen. Hobbycraft, thank you very much, Charia. That's where I got my paints from. They were £4 a can. Definitely use that outside. The smell is insane. It was really bad, and the scenery stank for about 3 days as well. It took like 3 days before the smell of the paint finally went away, you know. Okay, Al Kirkham says, "Good night, all. I have family from New York, so I have to go." Well, good night, Al Kirkham. I'm not sure I'd spotted you, Al, but thank you very much for joining us. That's pretty cool. What have we got? Kablam says, "I'm a big fan of my chunky thighs as well." Oh, bless you, Kablam. You took that with a good sense of humour. Ta-ta for now, Al, says Kablam. So, right, what else has been going off? Well, I think there's something nice and exciting that's going off. If I can bring this up. Hold on a second. I'm just loading it up. One other thing I wanted to talk about is, what does this mean? What does this mean for the games? So we've got Blood Bowl Championships, and White Dwarf with Spike Magazines presents the Best of Blood Bowl, a free digital compilation. I can't speak tonight. It's been a long day.
I'll try that again.
I know. So there you go. We're getting some digital outputs of a White Dwarf app, which is completely free. And you can, of course, use it to subscribe to the digital edition. Of course, they're trying to sell it, or you can get hold of digital copies of individual issues. But the app itself is free, and then you can open the app, and there's a bunch of content on there as well. So you'll find a free Best of White Dwarf waiting for you. I think it's nice. I think it's nice they're doing that. I do want to do one of the things I wanted to talk about for a Monday Muse, and I'm slightly concerned no one would tune in, but I want to talk about whether Games Workshop need digital asset management. So yeah, that's the face that I expected everybody to pull. It was something Sam was saying in the Saturday show, which was saying, you know, the iPad app isn't in line with the phone app, which isn't in line with the FAQs, which isn't in line with this. I mean, the way digital asset management works is you create a digital asset, and that may well be something like a Fire Slayer unit, like the Berserkers. And then you provide taxonomy and tagging. So you say Fire Slayer is a part of Age of Sigmar. They are also part of, or this unit is part of Fire Slayers. So you start to tag them, and you put their taxonomy and locate them. But then you can attach loads of data. So you can say these are their rules. This is their FAQ. This is their amended rule. And if you create this central data, they only need to edit the content once. And then if the app connects, if the other stuff connects to it, it takes a bit of infrastructure to do it. You know, then it updates everything in one go, rather than this sort of, you know, mismatch of content.
I do agree, because I mean, I can pull up 3 different wall scrolls for the same model, or the same unit, and it's like, well, which one?
Yeah, I mean,
which one's the correct one?
I break Army Builder like every time I use it, more or less. You always find an error somewhere, don't you? Yeah. It's so frustrating. So I do think digital asset management would be it, but they would need to kind of look at the whole digital landscape, get the apps in line with it, get them calling that core data when they publish. They need to get Army Builder pulling that data from somewhere. But, for instance, what they could do is update these rules as and when they need it. And then when they run the FAQ, all you do is output a document that says, compile every change we've made to every unit by faction within this date range. And it just pumps out an FAQ as well. And then you could actually just put that online, so people can say, what is the latest rules for this unit? What are the latest points value? You know, and either you do that by account base, so you pay for access to the app, and that gives you access directly into all units. Like that. I mean, because the app does give you all battle scrolls, doesn't it? You just don't get the surrounding rules as well.
Yeah.
It just makes sense, but it's an investment on their part.
It just makes, and if you think about it, really, manpower, it wouldn't take that much. I mean, it would take quite a lot to get it started, but once it's up and running, you'd only need a small team to keep it going and keep it updated.
Yeah.
So it's just that initial getting it started. That would take a lot of manpower. So
Coleman says the idea for the show is sound, but would Games Workshop watch it? Probably not. You never know. As we've said, we do. I think the CEO of Games Workshop does tune in every now and then, so it's always nice. Along with the Queen, maybe the Queen could mention it to him at a tea party. I kind of assume that's what happens. The Queen meets the CEO.
They play games together.
Games Workshop, Age of Sigmar, of course.
They play Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, of course. She's not into 40k. We all know that. That was more Philip. And would they watch it? I think, from my perspective, whether they watch it or not, they're a business that's doing very well. They're quite profitable at the moment, and this is an area where they could just absolutely distinguish themselves and get on top of the digital stuff. I don't think they're doing I think it's fair to say probably about a half job at digital at the moment. The fact that you buy an EPUB and it remains, the idea of these things, the idea of the iBooks and the EPUBs is you can update them. And then the idea of having an electronic book and having to check an FAQ is just insane in my mind. It's just crazy. And the argument has always been, well, it takes a lot of work, but you know what? It's not that much work. And I mean, the other thing I was thinking of is you could also actually do this for the printed stuff. Now, I know you can't auto-update the printed books, but imagine changing the format of a battle tome, where essentially it's a book that contains the lore, the history, and all that lot. But as soon as you hit the rules section, you've got like 2 sections, like slots where you just drop cards in. And the cards have all the unit rules on, and another set of cards that have all the things on, which I know you get now. You can buy them.
You might want to copyright that idea before they take that.
But all they'd have to do, wouldn't they, then, is to say, well, you've got the battle tome, and you pay £30 for that, and you get a set of cards, and you get the book and the rules and those kind of things. But every 6 months, we release updated cards. And you could charge £10 for those cards. Yeah. And you do it, wouldn't you? Because you just throw your old cards away, slot the new cards in the back for the units. Yeah. Job done.
You just come up with a very good earner for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, back in the day when I was a very, very young man, I used to work on press kits for Yamaha, the motorcycle manufacturer, and essentially that's how we did that. The content was exchangeable. I mean, and that was back in the times where there was no digital version. So what we did was move all of the cycling content to CD-ROM, folks. You'll not remember it unless you're as old as I am. But so you had all of the nice printed content, which had all the specifications and those kind of things, the content that never changed. But then as other stuff got updated, like imagery and those kind of things, or accessories, then you just send a new CD out, you put that in the back of the press bag, you got an updated press bag. And it's just the same principle. It's not rocket science. I think the community would really appreciate that. Can you imagine a hardback book that just has a section that's, say, 4 or 5 millimeters thick in the back of it? And you've got those A5 cards at the moment. Divide the A4 in half. One half is your units. The other half is all of your formation rules and army special rules and all those kind of things. Because it's the rules that get updated. Yeah. But the 2/3 of the book that essentially just contains a bunch of nice story could be left alone.
I agree with you.
Somebody send that over to GW.
We need to put that in writing.
Yeah. Send it over. They can have it. To be honest, they can have it if they're going to update the books. And it'd be even nicer if they update the EPUBs. Anyway, maybe that is a one for a chat at some point, or who knows whether we'll find time to do it. Okay, what have we got going off? Coleman correcting WG to GW. It's all right, I did that for you, and if I hadn't read that out, no one would have ever known. Kablams, I only really find a small amount of each White Dwarf interesting to the point of buying the whole magazine, but I would pay for select articles digitally. Strangely enough, I am a consumer of White Dwarf. I am subscribed, and I make the effort to read the whole magazine.
I've not read a White Dwarf. In fact, I've not purchased a White Dwarf in years.
Yeah, it's good bedtime reading.
It got to this, I think it was after when they changed it from every month to, they brought Warhammer Visions out, and then White Dwarf changed its content slightly, and I just stopped buying them.
Well, I'm still into it. Like I say, I'm still into it. I do go page by page. I don't do the whole flip through because that's really dangerous. I do it when I open it just to see what's there, but then I'm back to page 1, and I do the whole retro offline I put a vinyl record on. I put a vinyl record on.
Classic
And yeah. What was that band that actually did like they were like Blood for the Blood God was the track, wasn't it? I can't remember what they were called, but you actually got a vinyl record with White Dwarf once, you know. You actually got a little what were they? They were like flexi vinyls, and they had a song like Blood for the Blood God. I put that on, get that on the vinyl player, and thumb through it, page 1 through to the end. Okay, what else we've got going off? Ralph Hummel says, still not happy that they do not update the EPUB battle tomes and codexes with errata and FAQs. Rightly so, sir. Rightly so, despite the fact I have it in writing that they would. Well, yeah, I think you're right. Like I say, the insanity of having essentially a format that can be updated, and yet you have to seek out a separate FAQ.
A separate document.
It's just crazy.
It's almost like it's done by 2 different departments.
Maybe. May well be. Who knows? Or it's almost as if actually going back and correcting those documents just isn't profitable. But, you know, I like to think that GW have been working quite hard with their community engagement.
They're a lot better than they used to be.
You know, I think it'd help if everybody knew that when you went to source content, it was always up to date. And that's all people are asking for, really. Okie dokie. What else have we got going off in the chat? Retep says reliable units are saying that they have been going to the gym between index and codex. I have no idea what that means. Derpimus Maximus says I think the last I bought a White Dwarf was in about 99. My goodness, you must have been like 5 then, I think. Derpimus Maximus, I've seen pictures of you and you're a young sprightly fellow. Found the old stack at the eaves at Dad's house, still in decent condition. That's cool. That's Shiner Chen. I hope I've got your name right, and if not, I apologise. Love the White Dwarf again. After they've changed it back to a monthly magazine, the weekly thing was crap. Yes, I think that's generally accepted, even by Games Workshop.
Because they went to weekly White Dwarf with and then a monthly Visions.
Yeah, Visions.
That's when I stopped buying it because I bought one and it's like, this is rubbish. Not buying it again.
Well, yeah, exactly. There you go. Okay.
Answer to Kablam's question: which faction would the Queen play? I'd have to say it'd be Stormcast because of all the gold.
It's true. I you know what? I was trying to think of something clever, but no, that's good enough. Shiny gold.
I've been in Buckingham Palace and there's a lot of gold there.
Just go Crown Jewels.
It's a lot of. She has a lot of gold paint because they have to be in Buckingham Palace.
So. A lot of gold. I can't think of anything else.
Stormcast.
Yeah, it's going to be Stormcast Eternals. Yeah, I can't see doing any other faction at all, unless anybody can think of something. Aren't you only allowed to listen to GWAR anyway? Can somebody tell me what GWAR is?
I'm guessing it's audio
recording. Games Workshop audio recording, maybe.
Possibly.
Don't know. Bolt Thrower was the band on a Warhammer label. There you go. Thank you very much. Thank you, DJ, the lucky one. Bolt Thrower as well. They got you can't get more Warhammer than that, can you?
Thanks from a DJ.
Derpimus Maximus was 18. I don't believe it. I needed the money for beer. Kablams, I think I had a White Dwarf subscription in 98-ish. We're all going old school now. We're going old school, isn't it? Oh, GWAR, Gwar is a band.
Oh,
then
Gwar.
I'm going to have to get... It was because it was an acronym. I certainly missed it, and also I have no idea.
Doesn't Gwar mean ginger?
I don't know.
Right.
Queen equals Death Guard. Just saying, says Ralph.
I'd say that's more
kind
Harry.
of cool, though. It's kind of cool.
I'd say that's more Harry.
Phil, not complete correct pronounce, but better than most English-speaking people. It's okay. Well, if you want to give me a phonetic spelling, I will do my best. So I'm not going to
Shine urchin.
I think we've messed it up, but we've done our best. So thank you anyway for at least being understanding at our attempt. We do try our best. I have to say I'm terrible at translating the written word into spoken word. I definitely couldn't record audiobooks. Derpimus Maximus at DJ the Lucky One. D-Rock were on the Warhammer label too. Brian May played on a couple of songs on their album. Wow, royalty indeed. Royalty indeed. Brian May, of course, used to play High Elves. Coleman. A bunch of people telling us it's a band, mostly YouTube. Look it up on YouTube. It is the most Warhammer band in the world. Oh, and we've got Retep is saying it's pronounced Shinehian. Shinehian. Okay, thank you. Shinehian. We've got, and on that note, maybe that's time to call it a night. We've hit 10 o'clock. I am travelling on Wednesday. Oh, I almost dropped some scenery on my dwarves. I'm travelling on Wednesday, but I'm hoping to be back for a late night hobby hangout. So we're thinking we might even run, if I've got enough data, we might even run for a couple of hours, because I've got a whole bunch of dwarves to do, a whole bunch of painting. Jack has been working on, you know what, I didn't show any of this, I just wanted to show one of these, but if I can get this up.
Open on Wednesday.
So here we go, this is pretty cool. Jack has been working on, oh man, should have known, shouldn't I? Let's just zoom in a little bit, see if we can get away. Woo! Woo! All the way in. There you go. Oh, I've gone too far. Hide. There you go. This is what Jack's working on. So he's or re-hairing is referring is what are these called? I can't even remember the name of them. It doesn't really matter. These are the Beast Claw Raiders. I can't remember the name of the unit. Someone on the chat is going to do it. But he didn't like the weird, little molting patches where the skin had come off and the muscles were visible through it. He wanted this to look like sort of the woolly mammoth type stuff. He's even thinking of kind of more shaggy hair coming down here or something. So have I got that on camera? I'm messing up, aren't I? So there you go. He's been doing a little bit of green stuff. Watching some of Sam's tutorials and getting on with that. So yeah, he'll be working on those as well. He's actually got enough now. He's just had a new starter set arrive, which puts him on, I think, given he's also added to his army. I've got to show this because it's an incredible model. Why not? We can spare an extra minute, can't we? Just look at that. That's just amazing. So this is this hunter. I can't remember. Icebrow Hunter, I think his name is. And as Jack mentioned on the Wargamer Online Facebook community page, he sort of questioned everyone and said, you know, I'm going for kind of a more hairy, kind of furry kind of thing. So I'm thinking of using Fenrisian wolves instead of the cats. And he's done 4 of them, put them on oval bases, and they just look amazing next to this guy. He's super cool. It's a great model. Really cool. Anyway, right, moving on. Oh, right. Let's probably start winding up. What can I say? We hit 9,000 subscribers. It can't go without mention. I did a little thank you. I thanked everybody who subscribed to us on YouTube. Everybody who supported us through donations over the months while we've been trying to build this channel up. Everybody who signed up to Premium as well, because they're really making it happen. So I can't thank everybody enough. It's been crazy. 9,000 subscribers. It's one of those things. You never really know what's going to happen, and that's just been amazing. So we were so pleased. Watch this space. We will be talking about doing something as we edge our way towards 10,000 subscribers. So we'll be announcing some of that stuff soon. But needless to say, thank you to everyone who supported us. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the premium membership, then you can pop along to wargameronline.com and check out our website. Oh wait, hold on, I've clicked on the wrong thing. There you go. So here's our website. Got lots of cool stuff going off at the moment. We're building up sections. So we've got the WGO hub that we released recently. That's going to get a major update this weekend with a bunch of extra videos being added to it. We've added the forum section, and as you can see, there's all sorts of people posting wonderful things. Whole bunch of stuff from Ralph there on the Monday Musing and the Saturday Night with Stam, and the post on the Bloodthirsters. And of course, we've also put the blog up there as well, so you can start to see some written content on Wargamer Online now as well. So, whole bunch of stuff going off. More to come. I think when Sam's around, we're going to do a joint video. Not quite sure when that will be. It might be next Saturday or something like that. And we might do a couple of channel announcements as well, because we did make some wonderful plans. So maybe we need to start telling a few people about what we've got planned. That's what we're thinking anyway. Oh, I wasn't clicking around then. There you go. I'm going to come back to Steve. There you go. You can have a little bit of Steve before we close the show down. Wonderful stuff. You get on with your Blood Knights or whatever they're called.
They're
They're meant to be doing some work. They're trying. Right. Okay. I am going to say good night to everybody. So thank you very much. You better. You know what, Steve? Yeah, that's it. You do your salute. That's cool. I'll go back to full screen because I was in a tiny bubble there. I need to put you up there at some point, don't I? I should have been more prepared for this show, but
next time.
It's been a busy day, hasn't it? So there you go. Thank you very much. I know it was a bit of a random show tonight. I know I'm out of focus. Come on. We're just going to go without a focus tonight.
That's what you look
that's what
like
we're going to do.
goggles.
No way! I'm back in focus just in time to say goodnight to everyone. Thank you for joining us. There's a whole bunch of you wonderful people come along. So many thumbs up as well. Thank you very much for that. It's greatly appreciated. Look out for us on Wednesday. We're doing a hobby hangout. Hopefully a few people will join us on that. I think we've got a few people willing to join us along. You might see a bit more of Ralph. I know Patrick joined Sam on Saturday, wasn't it, as well? And there's all the local guys here as well, so keep an eye out for that show. Cool. In the meantime, lots to do and more content coming soon. So thank you very much. Have a good night, and we'll see you again soon.
Cheers, guys. Bye.